Sorry, we're running a little bit late. Our study session pushed a little longer than we had expected. With that being said, thank you all for being here. At this time, I'd like to call this meeting to order. And Ms. Pam Hale, if you don't mind, would you please lead us in a word of prayer?
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just count it an honor to be in this community tonight with this group of people. And Lord, as I pray, God, you said in your word, Lord, to pray for those in authority over us. And God, I pray, Lord, that as these council members and these city members come together, Lord, that you can give us wisdom and knowledge to make the great decisions for this community. And Lord, that you would guide and direct our leaders, Lord, to make all the right decisions. And God, not just for ourselves, but God, for the community of whole. And Lord, I just thank you, God, for allowing me to be a small part in this community and to be a part of what's going to take place here in the future. And I just give you all the praise and all the glory and honor in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Pam, for your time. All right. At this time, if everyone here would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Recorder, would you please call roll?
Mayor Tinnen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Here.
Commissioner Anderson.
Here.
Commissioner Gilmore.
Here.
Commissioner Walker.
Here. Thank you, Madam Recorder. Commissioners, before you have the reading of the May 14th, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners by the Recorder for approval or correction. Is there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved as written with a 5-0 vote. At this time, we're going to open up the podium for citizen comments, and if you would like to speak, please state your name, address, and hold your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Thomas Koenig. I live at 130 West 12 Stones Crossing in Goodlettsville. I'm here actually as a loving citizen of this beautiful city, but also as a small business owner. My business is a food truck, food trailer, in fact, and I'm here to talk about the ordinance 261148 and the impact that it might have on my business. So as most small companies, small businesses, I'm starting off trying to get into the business. We started off about 3 years ago. We opened up basically just a small pop-up business where we serve the community through the farmer's market, and we have been part of the farmer's market for the last 3 years. About, a year ago, we decided to get invested in a trailer because we understood that the people of Goodlettsville actually had a pretty good appetite for different culinary delights, including my Thai food. And we set up our shop. Actually, we're over at 31 West Liquor parking lot, and we've been operating out of that. When we're not at major events. It takes a tremendous amount of work. I mean, I know probably everybody understands what it takes to run a business and to operate a business. We work probably 14 hours a day on days we're open. On days we're closed, we're working probably 8 to 10 hours a day to get ready for the next week. And it takes all of our effort to try to keep this business going and try to drive this business and grow this business for the community. We have on Google, we have a 4.9 rating for our business. People really enjoy our food. We enjoy serving our community. This ordinance, in fact, though, will probably put us out of business, unfortunately. We just can't rely on having our business run once or twice a week or even once a week, at an event. We're also part of still part of the farmer's market. We get involved in other opportunities where we can, but we can't run our business on that. We can't support our family on that. We need to have we need to have an opportunity to operate our business, in a reasonable manner, 5 days a week, reasonable hours. Right now we work from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 8 o'clock in the evening. That's it. And we do it 5 days a week. And those don't count days like the farmer's market, so we don't open on farmer's market day because we're open at the farmer's market, and we have other events like we have one other event in Hendersonville at the Cruise Inn. But these events are not able to sustain our business. And so by having us not able to serve, to support ourselves and to serve our community on a repetitive nature, it takes a really long time also to build a customer base and to have customers come to you. If we have to move every single day, it would be impossible to maintain a customer base, right? And we wouldn't be able to find enough places in Goodlettsville. We'd have to move outside of Goodlettsville and continue to find other places, all which cost us a tremendous amount of time and effort and money to do that. So I'm here to ask you to consider the fact that these small businesses, we're working really hard. We're serving the community the best we can. We'd like to work with you if there's some issue that that we can help you resolve. Is some way to to ensure that we're mixing in with the rest of the community and have a safe and secure and a good environment, then we're more than willing to work with you in any way we can. But just shutting us down is going to end our business, and we won't be able to sustain. We won't be able to sustain Goodlettsville for sure, and we'll have to find another place to go, even if we're able to sustain long enough to be able to move to another location. So I ask and that hope that you all consider that as you think about the impact to us, the food vendor themselves, and our customer base. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. Anyone else?
Hello, I am Callie. My address is 219 Swift Drive. I have been a resident of Goodlettsville since the early or late 2000s, and I am here to speak against the food truck ban because I believe the people of Goodlettsville should get the choice to decide if they want to support food truck businesses on private property and not the government. I have been on both sides of the food counter, starting in the mid-2000s with my first service job here as a waitress at Pizza Hut. 9 years later, I became a small business owner myself when I became an owner-operator of my own restaurant in East Nashville. I've retired from restaurants, but I maintain a passion for local family-owned and operated businesses, including places like Roman Pharmacy, Chef's Market, and others. I patron these businesses exclusively here in Goodlettsville. When Panapa's food truck appeared in the 31W Liquors parking lot, I was extremely happy and heartened to see this empty space now cheerfully occupied with a local business serving the community. I can sincerely say that it makes me feel good about my community every time I drive by and see people outside the food truck. It makes the town feel alive and like home, and was a welcome change in the landscape from the strip of corporate businesses and auto stores. Many other towns and cities embrace these small businesses, incorporating food trucks into the fabric of their community, developing food truck parks with patios, picnic tables, and shade structures for the citizens, transforming a plot of concrete into a space that supports locals and generates revenue, but most importantly, brings members of the community together, which in my opinion is a pretty incredible return on what was formerly an empty, defunct parking lot. If anyone is worried about parking space in Goodlettsville, I can assure you that there is no shortage of parking space. From the great parking lot plains of the Long Hollow Dollar General Store Merchandising Center to the Dollar General on Main Street, the H.G. Hill Center, the mall parking lot, BJ's parking lot, former Joann's, Guitar Center, there are acres and acres of parking lots available. Goodlettsville is rich in miles of parking lots, and with a tiny bit of imagination and support from the city and local businesses, we can transform these spaces into attractive local hubs that the citizens and visitors of Goodlettsville can actually enjoy. Like every other business in Goodlettsville, please allow the people of Goodlettsville to decide if they want to support local businesses rather than banning them outright. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Danny Rhodes. I live at 999 Hit Lane. I also just want to speak briefly about supporting food trucks in our community and not banning them. I've lived in Middle Tennessee, this area, for 30 years. First 20 of those in East Nashville. I saw the rise of food trucks in East Nashville, and they were only supportive of the community that grew there, that built there. The people that were small business owners I've become friends with. They have only been supportive as well of the community. And we find that many of the successful food trucks end up planting and opening brick and mortars in the community where they've had food trucks, which turn around supporting the local community where they are. So I would love to see more creative discussions about whatever the issue is around potentially banning food trucks, and we operate in a more democratic position in that rather than just a straight ban. And if you have not been to Panapa's, it's delicious. Our family loves po' thai, and we go there very frequently. We also go to Panapa's. It's not a competition. It's not a zero-sum game. We, as a community, can support both food trucks and local brick and mortar stores and restaurants. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Please consider not passing this ban. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Anyone else? I see somebody trying to get up. Ma'am, you'll need to state your name and address and phone number and, no, I'm only kidding.
I think y'all all know it, but I'll tell you anyway. Kim Sutton, 3280 Patton Branch, Goodlettsville, Tennessee. I'm here to talk about an opening within the city. I understand we have a city manager retiring soon that I'm extremely sad about, but totally understand. We have a position open, and that is a position that I know that the commission is the only one that has an opportunity to determine who our new city manager is. It is an important position. For many, many years, the city manager has come from within the city. It's served us well. There's a few of us here that know city managers better than most. Vicki Wilson especially, and Jan. Excuse me. We could go, and I don't know what your process is. We can go out of the city and hire a commission and bring in advisors and spend a lot of money and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we need to look any further than what we've got inside our city. We've had a lady within the city that has been here since 2012. She's been the assistant city manager, and in my humble opinion, as well as many citizens of the city of Goodlettsville, and people that have been here and know what it takes to be a city manager, we went way outside the city limits and hired one city manager, and he's sitting right over there and has been here for many years. We went to the city of White House to get him, and that's about as far as we've needed to go. Now we've got a wonderful lady that has served the city in many capacities, but especially financially, and as far as our employees of the city, they respect her with all their heart and soul. And they know that she will make sure that the city maintains the consistent budgeting which I know is tough in today's market, but she's got a strong financial background. She's done great as far as the city finances are concerned. She's done that for many years. Excuse me. You guys know what it takes to be a city manager. You know what it takes to be a commissioner. I don't think there's any reason in this world for the city of Goodlettsville to go, I understand transparency. Well, we're transparent in the city of Goodlettsville and always have been. We don't have the issues that Nashville has, even Hendersonville. Look how bringing somebody in from California has served them. Listen to the news. We don't have to go outside the city of Goodlettsville. We've got a more than qualified city manager sitting right over there in that seat. And I appeal to you guys and gals that I think our city manager has already been selected by the citizens and the employees of the city of Goodlettsville. And I strongly recommend that you consider and appoint Julie High as our new city manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sutton. And if you would have been here during the study session, you would have probably heard all the good comments you can hear on one person. We all agree with you. She's phenomenal. And I would like to welcome Miss Dickey here tonight. Her husband was the one that allowed me a position on the fire department when I first started with the city a little over 30 years ago. And Mr. David is one of the finest men I agree that we've ever had working in this city as a city manager. One of the finest men I've ever worked under in my life as any job or any career. He was the most fair and understanding guy we ever had. So I'd like to say something about Mr. David Wilson, the finest man that's ever been here. Okay, is there any more city citizens that would like to speak? All right, hearing none, I'm going to close this portion of the public hearing. We're going to go ahead and move on to our regular meeting. Mr. Ellis, we are going to go on to comments from the city manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. This evening, and commissioners, I do not have anything specifically, but it also is bringing to an end our city branding project that has been ongoing since September, October era. So we'll see a presentation this evening. I'm going to ask Ms. Kimberly Lynn to come forward and recognize Kevin, who will be presenting the final results of the branding work.
Sure. So as you all remember, in the late fall, the city hired Chandler Thinks to conduct a community branding project for the city. And I wanted tonight to introduce Kevin. He's going to give us an overview of the community branding program. And although Mr. Ellis says that we're at the end of that, they might be at the end of their role. We're at the beginning of our work as we move forward. But I will introduce Kevin, and he will share with you the overview of the program.
First off, thank you, commissioners, mayor, vice mayor, for having allowed me to come in tonight and do this. This is the fun part. We've done a ton of work. Also, I want to thank everybody else in the room. If you were part of the process, some of you may have been. We did, as you'll see in a minute, we did lots of groups and things. Thank you. So first off, just a quick overview of the project goals. The primary goals were for a branding project, any branding project really, is to provide uniformity. You know, when you're talking, you don't want to talk all over the place. It also is to give the community identity and instill pride. It also helps community and economic development motion. It offers flexibility. The brand needs to provide flexibility for the community. And it also needs to be endorsed by the community. And that's the reason this process is so important, and we try to involve the community. It needs to be endorsed by the residents. Our process, as you guys have gone through this before, we presented this to you before, it's all about we explore, which is the whole research part that we started with. We came up here and visited your community. We evaluate, we create a strategy, and then we express that, create themes, and then there's the plan. Most of tonight's discussion will be about the last two, the expressing, the theme, and the plan and engagement. Quickly, again, this process starts with research, as you know, and you
All of y'all were part of a research presentation. We went very in-depth. I'm just going to give a quick overview just to remind us. There were over 1,000 people involved, or 1,000 participants involved in this research. The first thing we did is the team came up and we did a tour of Goodlettsville. We really tried to get to know Goodlettsville. What? Oh, sorry. Am I not talking? We did a tour of Goodlettsville so we get to know it. I'm actually from Nashville. I grew up here, and Goodlettsville, even though I knew about it, I didn't know a lot about it. So we got to come up here and learn a lot more. Then we did 21. Can everybody hear me now? Everybody hear me? Okay. Can you hear me there? Okay. I'll get a little closer. So then we did 20. Sorry, I like to move around a lot. We did 20 one-on-one interviews with stakeholders and elected officials. It's important to talk to every community has very influential people. We need to talk to them directly, so we did one-on-one interviews. Then we did 4 focus groups with 37 people in total, and those included people from the community, stakeholders, different interested parties within the community. And then we did 1 listening and learning session here in this room, where I think we had 49 attendees, which is, I've done a lot of these, that's a pretty good attendance for a city the size of Goodlettsville. Then we did a community survey that we had 467 responses. And we looked for 350 responses to be statistically accurate, plus or minus 5%. So we exceeded that. The community survey, as you know, is where we get out there and we talk to people, we ask people within the community what they thought. Then we wanted to ask what your neighbors thought. And that we did an outside perception study. We had 481 responses to that, and that's obviously the Nashville area and everything around your community, because what your neighbors say matters. If I'm on your street, your neighbors, what they talk about you is important. Then we did a digital audit. We live in a digital world, so it's important what's out there on websites and social media. What's your website look like? What's your social media look like? What is search saying about you? And then also reviews of your restaurants and hotels, et cetera. So that was kind of a very quick overview of a very deep process. And what came out of that process is what we like to call brand truths, and they are kind of the research distilled down into kind of the immutable facts about Goodlettsville. And here I'll just go through these quickly. I know you've seen these before, but I think it's good to recap them. Goodlettsville's strongest association is around its proximity to Nashville. It's unavoidable. You can't avoid that. So that's its strongest association. The access to Nashville's energy juxtaposed with Goodlettsville's small town culture as a driver for resident quality of life. I've got Nashville right there, but I get to come home to the nice, peaceful Goodlettsville. But right now, and brand truths aren't always positive. Goodlettsville has a fractured identity. It's a result of not having a clear sense of place outside your park, which is beautiful. Highly visible road construction and repair, that's not anyone's fault, it's just a fact, right? But it affects your identity. And the troubled associations with Rivergate. Again, this isn't anything we're making up, this is facts. And a result of being blended in or overrun by Nashville. You kind of got to raise your hand over here because we're different, we're not Nashville. But the good news is you have some good news. The future Rivergate plans are going to have a real impact. The construction projects do end. Sometimes we think they're never going to end, but they do end. And there's more development, and more developments are an opportunity to be intentional with your image. Because it's not like you've already got everything built and it's finished. Your things are changing. You can be really intentional with all this. So those are our brand truths. And from that, we develop a brand strategy, if you remember back to the process. And that strategy is, Goodlettsville must claim and protect its small town character. That's very important. While embracing the perks of Nashville, remember back to the brand truth, that's an important thing. More importantly, it needs to create a foundation for its own identity in voice and sense of place. We need to be intentional with every single project and how it shapes our identity for Goodlettsville that reflects the small town character. We got to keep that in mind. And we need to over-communicate with our residents because, again, there's a lot of change happening here and in Nashville. We have to over-communicate so everybody feels part of it because we can't do this alone. So one of the key tenets of our process, and we think branding in general, is telling our story. And that's because that's really what it's about. You know, it's not really about a logo. It's not about anything you do. It's really about the story, because a story can be owned by everyone and told. So what a story is a foundational element. It kind of encapsulates who we are. It provides familiarity, and it's what you care about. In a story, we try to put everything in a story that you care about. And it's always familiar. Even when someone tells it, it may not be exactly the same, but it's familiar. And it also establishes a voice and tone and pacing for how we talk about ourselves. So we crafted a huge brand story. I'm not going to read it to you. And just an excerpt of it is, welcome to Goodlettsville. Here, mornings begin on quiet streets and tree-lined neighborhoods where congestion, traffic jams, and stress take a back seat to a more relaxed rhythm and space to spread out and grow. Friendly faces and familiar routines set the mood for the day. The city's parks, cafes, gymnasiums, grocery stores, and community events are the places where meaningful moments happen that make one feel grounded. That's just an excerpt of the brand story. It's very long and goes into all the aspects of Goodlettsville. So we actually put together a little video, actually using assets. We worked with Kimberly and put together a video, and we used the brand story you'll hear a lot of the words from a brand story in the script, so I'll just play it here. Hopefully you got that.
Feel connected and are part of its story. A lot of cities have great histories, scenic natural beauty, and friendly people, but Goodlettsville isn't just another city. It's a community, a place where you can breathe and connect a little deeper while building a more balanced life. Here, mornings begin on quiet streets and tree-lined neighborhoods where congestion and stress take a backseat to a more relaxed rhythm and space to spread out and grow. Friendly faces and familiar routines set the mood for the day. The city's parks, cafes, gymnasiums, and community events are the places where meaningful moments happen that make one feel grounded. In Goodlettsville, you can slow down and engage, contribute, create, and have a voice. An approachable city government means access to civic leaders and involvement in meaningful issues, something that makes this place special and unique. Here, families find an environment in which to thrive, companies find room to expand, and residents, time to live. Abundant green spaces and expansive parks, historic sites, retail, dining, recreation, and youth sports are never more than a few minutes away. But Goodlettsville is also Nashville's front porch, offering the best of small-town living, balanced with easy access to Music City's booming economic energy, sports and entertainment options. Along with greater affordability and visionary future plans, Goodlettsville's appeal for businesses pursuing new opportunity, families looking to relocate, and those just seeking respite from the big city will only keep growing. Maybe when a place gifts you with a sense of belonging and provides you with a well-balanced life and the time to live it, that's when you know you're home. Goodlettsville, time to live.
So, as you can see, that if you read the brand story, that would feel very familiar. We obviously cut it down a little bit to get it to a nice 2-minute video. Whoops. So then we want to create some messaging. You know, how do we talk about ourselves? You know, brand story's got 1 million words in it. How can we talk about ourselves a little tighter? So we wanted to create some examples of some ads that had headlines and feel like a full-page ad. I know you're not going to run a bunch of full-page ads, but it gives us a good context to see how the voice of Goodlettsville works, as well as the color palette and logos and all that, how it works together. So here's some examples of some messaging. If you'd like more time to play, maybe it's time to make a move. Goodlettsville, Tennessee, time to live. If you'd like more time to explore, maybe it's time to make the move. And here we're, looking at shopping, If you'd like more time to connect, maybe it's time to make the move. If you live in Nashville and you never have time to play with your kids, maybe you need to move to Goodlettsville. If you'd like to have more free time, maybe it's time to make the move. And then also, we live in a digital world. This is how that same message could work in a small digital ad. And here's the logo, which y'all have seen lots of times. I mean, a logo is important. You can't hide it. It's important to a new brand, but it's not the whole thing. And people always ask, what does all that mean? So we kind of put together this kind of description of what it means. The logo icon reflects the character of Goodlettsville through its soft curves and flowing forms inspired by the community's rolling hills, open landscapes, and welcoming pace of life. The rising sun symbolizes optimism, growth, and a bright future for this city and the people who call it home. The typography complements the icon with a clean, contemporary style that is both highly legible and approachable. Together, the icon and type create a modern identity that celebrates Goodlettsville's strong sense of community, natural beauty, and continued progress. So that's the reason for the logo. If someone asks you, logos, everybody likes to have an opinion about a logo, but we try to base it in, if you think it reflects the story, reflects the brand truths, that's all part of this. And you've seen throughout here, time to live is kind of our tagline. And it kind of says two things. We need time to live our lives, or it's time to live. So you can read that line a couple different ways. It's also important that a logo, especially for a municipality, be very useful. So we wanted to create an alternate logo to use in different environments, a very horizontal logo. So there it is, as you see at the bottom of the PowerPoint. We also developed a color palette. This might not represent it exactly on the projection, but you need a color palette that's reflective of the brand story and what it feels like to be here, so that when you're choosing colors for your community, they all kind of work together. So this is a color palette we recommended, and you've seen throughout all the examples we've shown you. Here's the icon that can be used by itself, and again, the digital world we live in. Here's some social icons to the right, how they would be used in those little holes on Facebook and Instagram and places like that. And then how we use it it's important that it work with departments. The city needs to get credit for what it does. So the departments need to feel like we belong. So here's how we would handle that. And then here I'm just going to go through some more brand recommendations, kind of what the different components of how the brand can work its way into a city are. We have brand integration, we have packaging the branding effort, we need to share and engage with others about their effort, we need to create a sense of place, we need to extend the brand in the community, and we need to measure it. We live in a world where does it work? Did it work? That's an important thing to know. So here's some examples of that. I like to call these touch points. We need to touch all these different places. Voicemails, you think about, okay, if we have a voicemail message, how can I incorporate the brand into that? How do we talk in Goodlettsville? Let's make sure that's reflected in that. In emails and presentations on vehicles, exhibits, etc. And that's just organizing all your tools that you communicate with. Then we have a brand standards guide. And that brand standards guide, and I think a brand standards guide is a very important part of a brand because it provides rules. And I've got some I wanted to read here. The goal for graphic standards guide is very simple. When residents see the Goodlettsville brand, they should immediately know the message is official city communication. To avoid confusion, the brand should be reserved for official municipal communication, should not be used for personal communications by staff and political or personal communications by elected officials or outside organizations. It's important that when the brand is being used, it's official communications from the city. And to that, the Goodlettsville Tourism Department is going to serve as a primary point of contact for, how the brand is used. If you have questions, can I use it here? Or approvals of things, it's important that come through one party. But right now, that's the tourism department is going to kind of be the keeper of these standards. And here you'll see what typefaces to use, what colors to use, how the logo can be used. It's about a 15-page document. Then we need to embed the brand on stuff like business cards, letterheads, envelopes, city vehicles, email signatures, etc. Here's an example of the business card, how it could look, and a email signature. Here's a PowerPoint, how the PowerPoint could work, and you can see we're using it right here today in this presentation. Now, we do a lot of social media these days. In the city, when it's talking to its residents, important that it's concise and recognizable. When the city's saying something, sometimes it's important. You know, all of us went through COVID. There was a lot of official communications that went out, and the city suddenly was thrust into that, and the residents need to pay attention. So it doesn't need to feel like the local bake sale. It needs to feel like an important communication. So here's an example. To the left is picked up from your social media as it is today. To the right would be a recommendation of how we might approach it. Here's another one. On the left is, again, it's not necessarily that it was being done wrong. We just feel like we can tighten it up a little bit and make it a little bit cleaner. Here's another one where Parks and Rec, you know, they do stuff, you know, you can play with the colors because we have this color palette. You know, it does all, you can start, departments can kind of own a color. I mean, Parks is one of those departments that does a lot of communications. Here's some signage. I actually took these from existing signs that y'all have, and all we did was replace the logo with the new brand, and it really changes the feel of it because it's more consistent and easier to see. Here's a name badge for how that might look, and then the mat when you come in out front. It needs to live everywhere so that it's very consistent to your residents. You know, signs going into offices seems simple, but it shows consistency and repetition. So, city vehicles, here's a couple of different options. One's a little bit fancier, the one on the left. The one on the right's a little bit more no nonsense, because that maybe for a public services thing. But when the resident sees it driving down the road, they need to go, oh, there's a city taking care of us. Now, the flip side is that everybody has to behave, you know, in their city vehicle. But it is important because residents need to know what you're doing because you do a lot. Gateway signage. I have a firm belief that we don't have to tear everything down. Sometimes you can use existing structures, and that's the fiscally responsible thing to do. Here's an example where you could take your existing sign, update it, do a little paint, suddenly it's fitting with the brand, and we don't have to spend $1 gazillion to put a new sign up. Doesn't mean you can't put a new sign up, it's just, here's a way we could do it without doing that. Now, Goodlettsville branding application, we have to audit and organize all your tools we talked about, embed the brand, protect the logo through proper legal channels, you know, make sure you deal with your legal department and make sure you've got it protected. Create brand merchandise, let's do some cups, some shirts, things like that. Give the city website a facelift. And brand city programs with the new brand. And then also create storytelling opportunities in your public spaces. And then this all seems overwhelming. We need to prioritize your action. And remember, because sometimes people get caught in this trap, it's not about the logo and the tagline. You just run around, stick the logo on everything, you haven't integrated the brand. Then we need to package the branding effort. Create a one-pager of the Goodlettsville brand story so you can share it with someone. Development of Goodlettsville Branding 101 for maybe new staff hires, et cetera, so they understand, you know, the brand. Develop a Q&A if you want to hand that out or put it on your website for the residents. You could also build a separate little landing page for your website to just kind of help with the communicate about the branding process. And then begin the process of turning your social media over, make sure it's reflective of the brand, and then create a video, which we've already done. Then we need to share it, engage with others. It's important that the employees that work for the city understand the brand so that when they're talking, they say the right stuff. Because if you don't communicate with them, you can't blame them for saying the wrong things. And then again, that's any internal marketing efforts just to make sure that we're on the same page. And then y'all have already started this process, just put it to work. It doesn't need to be unveiled or revealed, it just needs to be put to work, which you've already kind of started. Then we create a sense of place. Here's some examples of some of your wayfinding, and this goes back to my comment about fiscal responsibility. I know recently y'all did some branding, some new wayfinding. This is using, using the exact metal up there. It's just putting a new piece of vinyl on it. That would be a very inexpensive way of updating the wayfinding without a big upheaval and a new. And then on all of your street signs, you have a little logo that you really can't see. So maybe we just put the icon on there if we want to do that. So here's another example of how we can take an existing park sign and change the paint color of what's in the typography, put the icon on it, and guess what? It's in the new brand. You know, we don't have to be super regimented and strip the thing apart and start over because there's money invested. That's a nice sign. We can create pole banners. You know, time to live is great, but we can also time to dine or time to shop, time to play. These are all ways that we can take that tagline and expand it and maybe use it in pole banners, et cetera. Then we extend the brand into the community, and like the brand can be a platform for economic development, for tourism, recruitment, arts, relocation. It can act as a basis for all of that. Now we need to measure it. And what's great is this process that we've gone through has already provided a pretty good baseline because we've done a community survey, we've done the surrounding area survey, so we know what people thought then. In a few years, you do that same survey again, and you can see if we've moved the needle. So we create benchmarks, and there are other ways to do it. Here's just some ways we can measure it. We can look at the number of organizations committed to the branding effort for Goodlettsville. That's, if we look at that number, does it change? Number of news articles and blog posts and influencer content referencing the new brand. Direct number of new branding themed related projects. Number of businesses actually using the branding materials in their own marketing, meaning the story. They're not going to stick their logo on things, but the story of Goodlettsville, everybody owns. The residents own it. They can use it. We have an example. I'm going to get this wrong. I'm going to use a different example. There was a community we worked in where there was a local coffee maker that actually called our client and said, can I use the brand in a coffee? There was a tagline about the deepness of a canyon, and they wanted to do a deep roast coffee. So that was a way they didn't use a logo, but they incorporated the brand. We're going to track the use of hashtags. That's another way of doing it. You can look at how, if there's new business, it has our brand. And this is not stuff that happens quickly, but you can look if we have new investment, job growth, measure new real estate projects, housing, et cetera. That's indirectly related to the brand, but if you think about cities that have strong brands and do a good job with this, they tend to be the ones on the rise, like you guys are. So this was a well-timed thing. Most importantly, and this is what I'll leave you with, this process takes time. This is not something that 6 months from now is going to be, ta-da, it's all great, everything is different. It's going to take some time. And remember that storytelling is everything. And it's all about pride. It's the pride the employees for the city have. It's the pride that your residents have. And that's what branding's about. And with that, I'll thank you.
Thank you so much. I thank everyone that met with Ms. High and Kimberly et al. It was ecstatic with what it brought to us. Mr. Ellis, do you have any more comments?
No, sir, not this evening.
Commissioners? Any commissioner comments before we get started? Hearing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda items.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to move items F, G, H, I, J, and K to the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Which one? I couldn't hear.
I'll repeat them for you. It is
I'll say.
F, G, H, I, J, and K is going to be the consent. We have a motion, and you have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, these consent agenda items pass. Well, let's take a vote on it. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It passes. The consent agenda items pass with a 5-0 vote. Okay, moving on to unfinished business. Mr. Ellis, would you consider ordinance 26-1142, please?
Mr. Mayor, I think we'll have to We moved it to the consent, but I don't think we have voted on it yet.
Oh.
The items.
We approved to move them to a consent. Now we need to.
We need to hear them and then vote on all of them
If you
together.
don't mind, I'll read what those are
Oh,
and then take.
I thought you didn't have to read them, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, you're right, we
No,
didn't read the numbers.
It's just in general nature. Resolution 26-1336, resolution
that's
of the
right.
board to approve a contract amendment with Carradino Engineering for construction engineering inspection services. Resolution 26-1337, resolution of the board approving an interlocal agreement between the city of Gouldsville and Metro Nashville in regards to building safety inspections in the Rivergate redevelopment project. Resolution 26-1338, a resolution declaring certain property surplus to the needs of the city. Resolution 26-1339, resolution of the Board of Commissioners approving a contract with Stansville Electric for Phase 3 traffic synchronization improvements. Item J, Resolution 26-1340, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners, the City of Gouldsville approving a grant agreement between the City of Gouldsville and the State of Tennessee Department of Military, Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. And Resolution 26-1341, a resolution of the City of Gouldsville adopting and participating in the 2026 Metropolitan Nashville Davidson County Multi-Hazard Mitigation Plan. Mr. Mayor, based on it being moved to consent, I think I'd probably need a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry about that, Tim. I thought that we did not have to read all that, but I'm glad you did.
All good.
Mr. Mayor, my apologies. Two of the items can't be considered on consent because of the monetary amount related to those.
Is it
Item F
and I?
and I, okay. They will have to be considered individually because of the monetary limits that we have in place.
So
Is
we
that
need to-
appropriate to make a motion to amend the consent agenda or remove items F and I? Can we do that? Okay.
Remove and go forward. All in favor? I'll second that.
Okay.
You just
So
done it?
F and I has been removed. Do we need to vote on that, Russell?
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item F and I have been removed, and we'll bring them back up when we get to new business. Okay, now, Mr. Ellis, would you consider ordinance 26-1142, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as an ordinance of the City of Gouldsville Board of Commissioners amending the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget passed by ordinance 25-1112. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is solely in relation to the response to Winter Storm Fern, the ice storm. This is second reading. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider? Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Ellis, consider ordinance 26-1145, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, and Commissioners, ordinance 26-1145 is an ordinance of the City of Gouldsville adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending on June 30, 2027. This is second reading, requires a public hearing. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, this requires a public hearing, so I'm going to open up the podium for a public hearing. And if anyone would like to speak on this, please make your way to the podium. Seeing no one make their way to the podium, we'll close this portion of the public hearing and move on to commissioner comments. Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Moving on to new business. Mr. Ellis, would you consider ordinance 26-1146, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Ordinance 261146, an ordinance calling for a referendum for the purpose of increasing investment in the city services such as parks, roads, public safety by maximizing the local option sales tax by half penny per dollar in the city of Gouldsville, Tennessee, hereby known as the Gouldsville Investment Act. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, this is on first reading. Staff recommends approval. As a follow-up to our discussion and study session, there are still several moving pieces to this, in which, if this passes this evening, we would require having a special called meeting in order to have this approved in time for election this fall. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Ellis, consider ordinance 26-1147, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners, City of Gouldsville, Tennessee, amending the Gouldsville Municipal Code, Title II, Chapter 2, by deleting Chapter 2 in its entirety and replacing it with a new Chapter 2 entitled Requirements and Appointments of Board and Commission Members. Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, this is on first reading. This item solely has to do with appointed boards and pretty much takes everything that has been approved by the board in the last 12 to 18 months and puts it in one section of the code. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this item?
A quick question on my part. I think I know the answer, but just to confirm, if a member is considered voluntarily to vacate their membership, they could be reappointed if they went through that process, right? Is my understanding.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay. And then who would be the one to sort of keep an eye on, I guess, attendance is the main goal here? Whose role is that to monitor, just so I'm clear?
The new city manager.
All right.
We would assign staff to monitor that.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Ellis, consider ordinance 26-1148, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, as an ordinance of the Board of Commissioners, City of Gouldsville, amending the Gouldsville Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 5, Section 504, Subsection D, by deleting subsection D in its entirety and replacing it with a new subsection D entitled Hours and Functions of Food Truck Operations. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this is before you on first reading. I'll be more willing to answer any questions anyone might have.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do I have a motion to consider?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Thank you so much. Commissioner comments or questions?
I think I would like to defer this. I know we've had a lot of people come in here today to speak about this, and I think we need to do some more due diligence about this. I've looked at some other cities, and there's some other ideas that I would like to look at and do a little bit more of my history. And I'm not comfortable with this one right now. So I would like to defer it. I don't care if we defer it to next month. I'm open to options, but I'd like to get everybody's thoughts.
So the Vice Mayor's made a motion to defer.
I'll make a motion to defer.
Do we have a second? Any other?
Well, I think we just motioned and seconded on the deferral, so
second.
are we on discussion on the deferral?
Yeah, I'm opening up for discussion now.
Okay. I'm curious your thoughts, Vice Mayor. If we defer it, we're considering the same language. So would it not be better to either deny this
I'm
language
happy to
today and
amend
bring
it at that
back.
time, but I want to get it on a
Yeah.
discussion up. So I'm happy to amend the language whenever we defer this to, which probably will be the case, but I still would like to do more due diligence about this.
Yeah.
That's just where I am right now.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I guess where I am is, I guess I'd rather give to the community, confirmation that this exact language is not going to be passed tonight, and then we come back at a later time at that point, so that the community can walk away tonight knowing that this exact moment and these business owners, they don't need to worry about this language at this
I
exact moment.
completely respect
That's
your-
kind of where I am.
I respect that completely, but if I keep it on, then I can discuss it next month if we're here, deny it completely and amend it. If I'd feel like if it's not on the agenda, we will not address it.
Right, but it could be on the agenda for July.
I mean, like I
right?
say, if we, there's other stuff that needs to be discussed, not just what's here, to look at some
May,
other questions.
may I make a recommendation to be deferred to the August meeting? I mean, are we looking at a date of how far out to them?
August
okay.
is fine with me, defer it to August meeting.
Yeah, they can still operate in the meantime, so it's not really holding them up.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
I respect your
But we're-
decision.
Yeah, no, I
but
respect
just-
yours as well.
No, I want to keep it on the agenda so we can bring something else to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I just don't want it kind of hanging over business owners' heads that
I
they're going to be
completely
impacted by this language in August, whether it's next month or August or September. And we could bring up, if it's August, then that gives us plenty of time to present a new model of the language. That's just maybe we're at different, but
I think we're kind of speaking the same thing.
I think,
Thank you
yeah,
for approaching
at the
it
end, we want the
different
right result here for everyone.
Right.
I've had a lot of concern from business owners and, concern from the community as well, and I don't want to just make it look like we're kicking the can down the road, and that we're actually putting an end to this exact language at this moment, and then we can bring back something new that's
ways.
reasonable, so.
Like I said, that's just.
Mr. Ellis, there's nothing that prevents the ordinance from being, and the recommendation from staff from being amended between now and.
Use your microphone, please.
It's, the green light doesn't come on, but I believe it's,
It worked.
working.
I mean, let me go back and talk about where this is currently, and let me first publicly apologize to Commissioner Walker, because he had asked for this number until I was sitting here tonight. I realized I had not given it to him. Currently, we only have 2 food trucks that have gone through the process to get licensed and permitted in accordance to what our regulations are. One was the gentleman that was here, and then another. One of the problems that we're having is we're having far more than 2 people operating food trucks, and policing that regulation is increasingly becoming an issue when we also have restaurants, in some cases, that are having to do everything that they're supposed to. It's not about brick and mortar. This is, in my viewpoint, this is about what is best to regulate, easier to regulate, I guess the simplest way to say it. And I know that some have had questions about times and where they're operating and times that they're set up and different things of that nature. So I do agree with Vice Mayor that I think this needs a little bit more time to figure out. My recommendation for August, I apparently couldn't hear everything that was being said. We can have some adjustments to it before then. It's just whatever this board would like.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Any more questions? We'll move on to a vote.
I guess I'll just say, I'm not going to vote to defer it. I'd rather vote on the matter tonight, so that the community's clear that this language will not be moving forward, but I may be outnumbered on that, so the vote will speak for itself. But with all due respect, it sounds like we're on the same page of getting to a better resolution at the end of this.
All right, so we're going to move on to a vote.
Hold on, Mr. Mayor. And just for clarification, Mr. Ellis, this is not a ban on food trucks.
No, sir, what this is doing is limiting food trucks pretty much to operations at special events, and other like events where they would like for a food trucks. Still allows them to have a permitted food truck rally. This limits those that just pull off the road and sets up on private property. If you all remember earlier, last year, we approved a change to the code to where food truck could not become permanent residents. In other words, it cannot sit there constantly, because that's, to me, my personal definition, that's not a food truck. That is circumventing what was the intent. But you know, but no, it does not limit that. And most of the activity in the city is at special events. That's the reason why we left it like it was.
Thank you. I just asking for clarification from some of the public comments.
All right.
Just to be clear, too, in case there's any question, I've never called this a ban. It's a restriction on food trucks. So your single one-off food trucks, food trailers would not be able to operate under this current language. And like Mr. Ellis said, they'd only be allowed at holiday functions, sporting events, you know, as it says in the language. So I don't want the ban language to come back on me, because I never said it was one.
All right. Any more comments? We've had a motion and a second to defer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Ordinance passes with a 4-1 vote.
Motion to defer.
Ordinance passes.
No, the ordinance does not pass.
The motion to defer passes.
Oh, yeah, okay, motion to defer passes, yes.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Ellis, consider ordinance 26-1149.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of Goodlettsville adopted per ordinance 15851 by changing the zoning of properties on Rivergate Parkway and Wade Circle from CSL Commercial Services Limited to RC2 PUD Regional Center Plan Unit Development Low Intensity. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this passed the Planning Commission unanimously. Staff recommends approval on first reading.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do I have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Ellis, consider ordinance 26-1150, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to define provisions for fence regulations. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, this passed Planning Commission unanimously. This is before you on first reading. Mr. Sean Falzer, Mr. Russell Freeman are here to answer any questions you might have. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance passes with a 5-0 vote. Mr. Ellis, consider resolution 26-1336, please.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. It's a resolution of the Board of Commissioners, City of Goodlettsville, approving a contract amendment with Carradino Engineering for construction engineering inspection services related to Phase 3 traffic signalization improvements project funded through a congestion mitigation and air quality grant program. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item or questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes with a 5-0 vote. Next two are consent agenda items. We're going to move on to Resolution 26-1339. Mr. Ellis.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners, City of Goodlettsville, approving a contract with Stansel Electric Company Incorporated for the construction of Phase 3 traffic signalization improvements funded through congestion mitigation and air quality grant in the amount of $2,477,765. This was actually, as far as the CMAQ grant, came in about $300,000 under what was projected, so staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. Do we have a motion to consider?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Resolution passes with a 5-0 vote. The other two are going to be consent agenda items, and we move on to item I.
L.
L.
No, no,
H-I-J.
it's L.
K-L. Yeah, I can't say I don't have my glasses on. I did forget my specs tonight, by the way. I couldn't. All right. Mr. Ellis, do you want to talk about this, or do you want me to handle it?
I'll introduce it and then let you all handle it. Consider and possibly take action on the method for selection and appointment for the position of city manager to assume on August 1st, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. I would like to start by saying we had a very good study session on this. We have researched it. We have talked to countless people about this. With this being said, I see no need to post a position for the city manager position and/or recruitment for that position. At this time, I will make a motion to appoint Ms. Julie High starting October the 1st with the equivalent salary as the city manager now, Mr. Tim Ellis. At that date, she will be our new city manager on October 1st. That is my motion.
I will second it.
I'll put it on,
You third?
I guess we don't need. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any question? Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Just to make a quick comment, I'm going to be a yes on this because, as I said earlier, it's very important that the city manager, the incoming city manager, have unanimous support by this board. And I think that the incoming city manager deserves unanimous support from this board, as does the community. Do want on record, while I'm supporting this motion, I'm supporting Ms. High as our next city manager. I'm very excited for her. I wasn't expecting this to be on our agenda tonight, and how this went about, I would have loved to have a little bit more public involvement. It would have made it a bigger thing for the public to be aware that this was that this really critical vote was happening tonight. And I think it comes down to the wording of how it was put on our agenda. So let that be what it is. I'm still excited to support her, and let's do it.
All right. So
I do want to point out one thing. I mean, I sent out the verbiage to this early last week and asked for any feedback. Did not receive any. And interpretation to it and so forth, I mean, I'm not sure about, but I seeked input from the city commission on what that verbiage was. I just want to point that out.
thank you, Mr. Ellis. I don't think we will second question anything. I think every city employee has spoke their mind. Several citizens have called me and said, we trust your judgment. We have never once second-guessed Ms. Julie High's abilities. I told her the night that Mr. Ellis said that he was leaving that I would hope that we'd have the opportunity to hire. I talked to her as soon as he said that. With that being said, I would like to take a vote. All in favor in making Julie High our next city manager starting October the 1st with the equivalent salary of the city manager today, Mr. Tim Ellis. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ms. Julie High, you will be our new city manager starting October 1st. I don't think there's anybody that could be any happier than this board. You've been phenomenal from day one, handling our financial stuff, being an assistant city manager. Never once have we second-guessed anything you've ever done. So looking forward. And I think I'm not the only one that wants to speak, so I'm going to be quiet and say thank you so much, Julie, for even telling me you would take this job. From the bottom of my heart, we are so happy. Thank you.
I said a lot during the work session, so I don't want to take much time from anybody else. Congratulations. It's well-deserved. I've looked very much forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I made a lot of comments earlier as well. I'm very excited for you. Congratulations, Ms. High. I think you'll be an excellent leader for our community. I'm excited to see what you'll do going forward, and I think our community will be better off in the future too, with you at the helm. So thank you for your interest and your dedication and your passion for even being willing to serve in this role. And I'm just excited, and congratulations.
Ms. Julie, me and Jimmy D said we're good. Everything's been said already. Now, thank you so much for all you do. We look forward to working with you. You're the employees of this city think very highly of you. So thank you for taking this position.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Ellis?
I'd like to end, well, not end, I'm not sure call. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate the decision that's been made. Julie and I are two different people. You're going to enjoy working with her and her vision. Hey, not funny.
Is this a roast?
But she, huh? Yeah, they know we're two different people. But you could not have made a better decision no matter where you went. And I appreciate you all. And Julie, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. We've appreciated you more than you'll ever know, too. We've been fortunate to have, as far as I'm concerned, the best city managers the last 40 years of any city in the state of Tennessee. We've been blessed and fixing to start a wonderful new chapter, I'm sure. If there's no more comments, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second and third that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed?
Go for it.
This meeting is adjourned.